Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
Welcome back to the dungeon, BJ.
G'day. What's happening?
I've been listening to your latest episode with Benny, talking about mulching versus
Jeez, didn't that stir up some repressed feelings for some people?
look, I think there's quite a few people who are either over it or they just want to dignate themselves.
Oh, look, to be honest, we saw what was going on LMCA and we just went for it. It's
Good on you.
I mean, controversy is king, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's it. And there's no harm in stirring the pot. Quite happy to disagree with you guys when it comes to mulching versus catching, but it sounds like you guys have mellowed a bit on that topic.
Mate, I've always been the same. I've always been do what you see fit to do in your own business. I'm not one for telling people what to do.
That is so 2024.
Oh, mate, I've got enough things to worry about than dictating what other people are doing in their businesses, that's for sure.
Good on you. It's well and truly entertaining, and I did an episode with Luke last week. I don't know if you've had a listen to that one yet, but I found a problem. When you've got two people going back and forth with the banter, it gets a little bit dirty.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you've listened to all 127 of the Skull sessions, but I think maybe the first one or two were clean, and it was on from there. I think it was all downhill, especially when I started doing all the editing. I think it was definitely downhill from there.
Yeah, well, Luke and I are both clean boys, right? Like we conduct our podcasts very professionally.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave your job to create a profitable and enjoyable lawn and garden business? Aussie Lawn Stars shares the stories, lessons and advice to help you grow a healthy, productive, efficient and sustainable business. Do you want more or simply have a question about what you heard? Contact Aussie Lawn Stars at iCloud.com or look me up, Gary Ashton, on Facebook and Messenger for individual help. Business coaching helps you to have the right mindset and perspective when it comes to daily decision making, planning, or knowing what to look for to improve your business. thinktankcoaching.com.au has helped me, and they can help you move towards your business goals. Visit their website or email them thinktankcoaching@outlook.com. If you want to establish the best practices in bookkeeping, accounting, and business structure, contact Adrian from Prosper Financial on 0249 773363. And you all need to head to Lawn Mowing Contractors Australia and the Australian Professional Lawn Contractors Facebook groups for supportive communities focused on our industry.
But within the first 5 minutes, it's like, hang on a minute, let's pull in the reins a bit here. It's getting out of control.
Yeah. No, we couldn't do a podcast like that. It wouldn't be very natural for Ben or I to hold back in any shape or form. Yeah. I think we did try and avoid dropping C-bombs, and I think to our credit, we really don't go too hard. But
yeah. I'll have to come and hang around you guys when I'm up Brisbane next time and give you drinks until you are going hard then.
Oh man, is that coming through on your end?
There's a little bit of an echo there, is it?
Oh, that's good. That's all right. Don't worry about it. It's probably something outside. I've got a window behind me because it's still quite warm here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Probably some sort of animal making love in my backyard. I actually found my first snake here the other day.
Nice. What did you get?
Yeah, it was about 6 foot greenie. So
nice.
Yeah, I was in bare feet and I had to take him across the road to the bush. But there's like 5 lanes across in front of my house at the moment because there's some roadworks going on. So I just stand there with this snake in the middle island, just waiting for all the cars to go past so I can put him back to where he belongs.
Back in the bush.
Yeah,
I caught one down the road. I caught a green tree snake down the road from my place a couple of months ago now. It's probably close to 2 months ago.
Yep.
And now we're getting down 11, 12 degrees overnight. I get up in the morning and I'm putting a jumper on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
There's no wild snakes around here now, just the indoor kind.
Oh, I saw Ben. Ben was wearing a jumper the other day, and I kind of wanted to push him over like a school kid. Like, mate, it's not that time yet. Don't be advertising that sort of stuff. But we have noticed a little bit of stunting growth. There's been no shortage of rain, which has made things horrible because now we're not getting that heat and nothing's drying up. So
Yeah, that's it. I was seeing the same round here. There's a lot of places which have been dry. And I mean, even though we've had rain, like the ground has been bone dry. But in the last 2 weeks, we've had a couple of dumps of 40 or 50 mils. And now we've got puddles of water just hitting in those low spots again.
was it so dry that it didn't sink in? It just sort of sat on top, or?
Yeah. The soil was hydrophobic. It was literally just run off the top.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's no good when that happens because it just makes a mess.
These are very sexual terms, aren't they? Because you got hydrophobic soil and you got to use a penetrant to make sure you can get into it.
Oh, yeah. I can't say the surface, something comes out at the end of that word that I can't. I don't know why I can't. Surfactant, but
Yeah, that's the one.
is that it? I don't know why I put the see you next Tuesday at the end of it all the time. I just can't spit it out properly. That's all right.
Yeah, too easy.
So what's been happening since we caught up last?
That
That would have been before my event, wouldn't it? The first event?
I think that's when we last caught up properly. Yeah, was at your event.
That was but I mean, podcast was probably
it was
a
well
while before then.
Yeah, long before.
Gary, why so long?
I've been going for over 2.5 years now. It's coming up to 3 years in August. I think you guys started the same time as I did.
Yeah. So I think we were maybe the week after you started, we kicked off.
About that. Yeah.
So, it was one of those things. I've been talking to Ben about it, and he was umming and ahhing, and then the guy that was with him, Josh, at the time, was like, "Oh yeah, it'd be all right," and he had some knowledge of what he was doing, and then well, that kind of fell through, and then I got thrown the reins. So it's been a long time, but I don't know. Picked up a couple of tricks, a couple of pieces of equipment that have made life a bit easier.
Yeah, it makes it so much easier when you got a roadcaster, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, for so long we were just recording straight onto my mobile phone with one microphone between us.
Yeah.
And then I was just bringing it home and cutting it up in some free program and extracting the audio and throwing it up. It's a pretty simple way to get started, but I think it it aged.
The other thing is, when you've got a nice simple setup, like you're just recording with one microphone straight onto your phone, you don't have to do all the audio balancing. You don't have to play around with it. When you got the expensive microphone like this, you got the roadcaster, you got to make sure everything's balanced right. And, then you got to play around with the effects, like, a bit of laughing and then, cut out Jay.
Yeah. I thought that was a bloody bunch of chickens having a bloody gangbang or something.
Pretty sure that's where that sound comes from.
It's good. Like I like it, but times have been tough lately. Like you got to weigh up with our business growing so much. I've just been mowing like just more than I've ever mowed in my life. So Benny and I, and Ben, obviously, if we're all busy, then Ben's going to be busy as well. So it's just been hard to catch up, and podcast suffers, but realistically, we don't make anything out of it. We just like doing it. So, it's one of those things.
And your passion's shifted from the podcast. I know you're still passionate about keeping your business going strong, but your passion for podcasting seems to have shifted more towards the event orientation side of it. Yeah,
look, like realistically, the event is ever since last year, it was something that I was like, I want to make this a thing. Like I want to make it an annual fixture. So everything sort of got focused on that. It's a long time and there's a lot more planning. I'm just very lucky. My wife is, she's the brains of the operation of TBL property maintenance. So who better to jump on board and take the reins? She honestly has taken the reins with the event. She's done a lot of admin that, like I'm basically just the face, and I talk to everyone. Like I make all the calls and find all the vendors, which has been awesome. Like we've had such a good response already.
Well, the first event was such a great turnout, wasn't it? For the amount of effort you put in, the feedback was awesome. The amount of people that turned up, vendors, getting everybody there, it blew us away, really.
It blew me away, to be honest. I was surprised. I like happily surprised. The only thing was it was so crazy busy that I didn't get a chance to really meet and greet. Like the whole idea was to meet and greet all the people who sort of had supported me in the previous couple of months, and
Yeah.
I didn't really get a chance to do that because it was just there was so many people and there was so much stuff to do. The raffle tickets were going off, so in between, I had to run out to Officeworks and go and get more tickets for the girls to keep pumping out.
Yeah.
But this year's a lot more organised. We have bigger venues, and we're in 3 cities. So we're in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane this year. So everything's going well so far. We even got a website, and
Yeah, well, I noticed your website was up and operational when I was talking to Luke Smith a week ago. And so we gave it a little bit of a promo then, talking about that, and announced the dates on Luke's podcast. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, the Brisbane one's the first one off the first cab off the rank. It's a bit of a special one. I don't know how many crossover listeners we have with the Skull Sessions, but the name actually is abbreviated out to Ellie.
I noticed that.
Yeah, so the first event is actually the day before her birthday. So that'll be a good one on the 6th of July. So that'll be Brisbane. We've got 3 major sponsors already, which has been awesome, and it's the usual culprits. So Skag's taken Brisbane. The 27th of July in Melbourne, Ego's taken that one, and the 17th of August, Sydney. Our cool cats over there at PLP have taken that one. So Bushrange is going to be supporting that one.
Nice. Now, I've already booked myself out in July. I'm heading up to Cairns. I'll be in Cairns on the date that you run the first one.
That's all right, mate. There's 2 more. See, that's the reason that we are doing a few, because I had so many messages after the first one saying, oh, really would have loved it if you could do one in Melbourne or Sydney. I think Melbourne is going to be quite a big one. There was a lot of people that reached out to me after the last one and said, oh, if it was in Melbourne, we definitely would have come. And, I know what it's like trying to get away, even though it's winter. But, no, I think this sort of event will be something that we can just build on and make bigger and better every year. We've already started looking at showgrounds and stuff for next year.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping I'll be at the Sydney one, but I honestly don't know if I'm going to be able to get to the Melbourne one as well.
No, just too much.
When I get back from North Queensland, because I'm hitting Cairns the beginning of July and then going up through Cape York for 2 weeks, so it's going to be a 3 to 4 week holiday. So by the time I get back, I think your Melbourne one might be already in full swing.
Yeah, bike or four-wheel driving?
Yeah, full driving.
Nice.
I'd love to do a bike trip through Cape York, though.
Yeah, you'd want to sleep on a tree, though. You wouldn't want to sleep near any water.
It's funny you say that, because I've been up to Cape York a couple of times, and most of the places where you stay are really safe. But there's one spot where I stayed going back to the 1980s when I went up there the first time as a kid, and we stayed right beside the river. And then on the way back down past that same river, we heard how a couple of people were staying there, and a croc came up out of the river right where they were peeing. A croc came up one side and a bush pig came up the other side, and all 3 ran in opposite directions.
No way. Yeah, that's something that freaks me out. Something you can't see.
Would definitely have a bit of shrinkage if I was peeing and had a croc come up one side and a bush pig on the other side of the dune.
Yeah, I've always got shrinkage. I'm trying to keep it in. I'm trying to keep all my dirty jokes in, mate. That's about as dirty as I feel like I can get on here.
Yeah, that's about it. Good.
So what happened? What's been happening in Gaz's world out in the green world?
Well, down here we've definitely slowed down a bit quicker than you guys have. So I've backed my robot mower off to about 3 days a week and half the amount of hours per day.
Nice.
And last week I did a trip. So I did a little bit of a road trip last week. I had to go and pick my daughter up from Albury, which is about a 7-hour run down to Albury. But I was like, if I'm just going down to Albury to pick my daughter up, it's a personal trip. But if I go out to Griffith, and I've visited Ben Giblett out at Griffith, who's a person I interviewed before, and then I went down to middle of Victoria, went down to Ballarat and caught up with Remy Willems, and we did some work down there. So made it a work trip.
Yeah, write it all off, mate.
Yeah, podcasting.
Very nice. I mean, can you claim, like, could I do stuff like that even though I'm not really making any money out of it?
Do you claim all your podcast expenses as a business expense? I do.
Nah, not really. Nah.
So that, I guess that's it, isn't it? Like, are you claiming your podcast as a business? And I think it is to a degree. But if you claim it as a business, then you've got to talk to your accountant and get it all set up so that you can claim it.
Oh, so you've registered the All Stars as a business?
Sure have.
Oh, nice, cool.
I was going to do it anyway, but I noticed there was a couple of in Sydney and I think in Brisbane, a couple of places that were running an event called Aussie Lawn Stars.
Oh, actually, yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to make sure I own the name so that I don't have any issues with people trying to take it off me.
Yeah, well, that's why we keep the Bearded Lawnsman rolling, so we can keep that just because I love it. Like, it's my original business name, and I still love the original logo and everything about it. I've actually, in the drawer next to me, I've still got some of the old cards, or unless my wife's thrown them away, which she more than likely has. But we've got cards from every single run of cards. We've done a different card. So I was going to keep them all and do a little frame up and see what it looked like.
Yeah. Awesome.
The office. This is our new office. You can't see much of it, but
it looks good.
This is not my desk. I don't have a desk in here. By our office, I mean Louise's office.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the boss's office.
But that's all right. That's fine with me. I don't mind working on the floor. Or there's a nice 3-seater couch over there. I feel a bit more comfortable on. So
now, at your first event, I was going to corner Lou and ask her some questions, see if I could record it. I think if I can catch her at one of the next events, I'll have to just put a camera in front of her, whack a microphone on her shirt and go, all right, we're talking.
Mate, she would die. She would rather eat glass, I reckon. She won't do one with me, which is unfortunate because, she's my best mate and she's hilarious. So I think we do really well. I think if I ever get a chance to be with just her and me and podcasting equipment is out and we have a few drinks in us, I reckon we could spit out a pretty good podcast.
Well, I did one with Cherie going back to my 100th episode, so we're at 143 now. And she was a little bit anxious about being recorded, but it came across really well.
Yeah, it's one of those things when it's like your first time being recorded. It's like, oh
yeah,
you never know how to go back and forth. But
yeah, don't go back and listen to my first 5 episodes.
Oh yeah, I don't even know. We've had some zingers though. Like we've had some pretty good episodes that I had like heaps of fun doing.
Yeah.
So especially one I remember sitting in Benny's shed and just like projectile spitting water all over his floor just from laughing so hard.
I think I remember there was one that you guys finished a little bit prematurely because you were just couldn't contain yourselves. You couldn't get the conversation back on track.
Yeah, well, just the last one we had to ditch prematurely as well because we were just sitting there and Vicky's knocked on the door, opened it up and said, "Ben, there's a courier outside with all your boxes." He's looked at me, I've looked at him, I'm like, "Go get your boxes, man." He's like, "All right, we're out." So
that's
it happens.
Yeah. So I've been changing my podcast, like working towards a bit more of a goal now. So to start with, the goal was sort of there, but I've been fine-tuning it now so that the podcast is more defined and more aimed at going, okay, the goal of my podcast is to help people who are new in the industry or people who are thinking of joining the industry to make sure they've got the resources they need so that they get it right first time rather than guessing. And it's kind of piggybacks on the whole idea of what LMCA does and going, okay, and most of the time I will refer to LMCA in the podcast and say, if if you're looking for things to help you get traction, join up with LMCA on Facebook, and all the various different things that make sense for people starting out in business to go, okay, let's basically get a checkbox list and go, all right, what do we need?
Yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why I put together the event as well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get as many things that I think would have helped me in my business when I was first starting off. I'm trying to get as many there as I can. Some of these nuts are really hard to crack, like the amount of times that I've reached out to actually ServiceMate was okay. They got back to me pretty quick, but they haven't done their follow-up call. But Xero is definitely one that's hard to contact.
Yeah.
There's a few that are hard to contact, but I'm just going to be...
Xero's got an ambassador in Australia. Maybe you should go through their ambassador.
Well, I did. And so I did reach out to one, and I hope this doesn't get back to Xero, but his business had fallen apart, so it's not a good advertisement. But
maybe they need me to be an ambassador for them then.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I use Xero. We use it now for payroll and things like that. So
yeah, it's so good, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm pretending like I know, but my wife does it all. So I'm a sitting duck, to be honest.
The reality is, you hear those two names spat out in the American podcasts, Xero and QuickBooks, and you hear it in Australia. Those are the two names for the accounting packages that do a good job, and you can always find another accounting package. I think MYOB still exists out there as well.
Yeah,
but yeah, Xero and QuickBooks seem to have that down pat when it comes to small businesses, trades, lawn care, all that sort of thing.
Xero's hooked up with most of the accountants around here, so we're just shopping for a new accountant now. So, not shopping. My wife's found one, but yeah, it's one of those things. If you can streamline, then it's wise to do so. But we still use Rounded for all of our invoicing. It's just it was a cheap, I think it was Invoice to Go knockoff.
Yeah,
and that's how they branded themselves, and it's been fantastic for us. And we've just, as our business has grown, so's their app. So, and their prices are pretty reasonable.
So you use that in conjunction with Xero then?
Yeah. So we only use Xero basically for our payroll stuff. And then we use Rounded for all of our targeting and all of our invoicing and quoting and all that sort of stuff. So it's it's very reasonably priced compared to like Invoice to Go. When I first started with that was, it was like $160, and then by like year 3 of my business, it was up around the 500 mark, and I was like, it's not for me.
That's it. They certainly know when they're getting traction, they bump their prices up. I found the same thing with car sales. I have sold so many cars through the car sales website. They should give it to me for free.
Yeah.
But the first time I used it, it was free to use. And then the second time I used it, it was like $20. And the third time it was $50. And then it was $80. This last time I used it, it cost, I think it was $194 to place the ad.
Yeah. So we just sold our car not that long ago, maybe like maybe not even 6 months. And I couldn't believe it. It was like $200 and something to list it. So, I mean, it was good. We sold it and it was a small price to pay. But,
that's it.
But that's like Seek as well. Seek is not cheap. Like I don't know how many people that use Seek to find employees, but I think it was like $280 or something to run an ad on Seek to have a profile. But
crazy, isn't it?
I mean, what do you do? Stuff are hard enough to find, and they know it, so they just jack their price up.
Yep, that's right. They know they've got the market cornered.
Yeah, I mean, so does everyone in Australia, don't they? There's not that much competition here.
That's right. Yeah.
Efficiency is the thing that rules a business and the decisions you make as a small business owner. Right Mowers give you the options in their product lineup to match efficiency with size, fuel usage, and the type of jobs you want to target, from catching to mulching or side discharge, from roadside verges to acreages and manicured lawns to 6 feet tall and super long. I've been using the Right Stander I 42-inch with a Catch Pro for manicured areas and the Stander ZK61 to maximise productivity for large open acreage mowing. If you need to replace your push mower, try the 32-inch Stander B. If you have more open access to residential properties, there's a 42 through to 48-inch option that suits you. And if you want to enter the acreage market, the 52, 61 and 72-inch machines have choices in engine size and model type to suit the work you want it to do. Right Standers go the distance, saving you time and money season after season.
What else is news?
Oh, mate, a bit of this, bit of that. I'm heading to the Equip Expo again this year. Pretty excited about that. I've already started to make connections. The year before when I went, I basically just went and I didn't reach out to anyone before I left, and I probably should have and made a bit more song and dance while I was there. But realistically, I wasn't there to meet people. I was there to see things and experience the whole thing as a consumer. But this year, so I've already reached out to like Paul Jamieson and a few other people that I did meet there, which was cool. And hopefully I can meet up with them. Go and have dinner or something. Maybe they can get me a few cheeky tickets to some parties, because some of the parties over there are proper parties. Like I remember doing shots with guys from Vanguard and and then someone was walking around with a tray of syringes, and everybody just started, not like Harry syringes or anything like that. But no, they were just all these different coloured shots, and then I mean, I guess they all had their company credit cards because they were just tap tap tap, and I was just had my mouth open like a pelican, just drinking whatever they gave me. I ended up trying to get into the wrong room in a crack den, so that was fun. Yeah.
That's a memory you won't forget in a hurry.
No, it's it's a wild place. Like I loved it, but seeing America up close, it definitely has a shine to it when you see it on TV and things that you don't really know what's behind the curtain until you get there.
It's interesting looking at the Equip Expo over there, because they tag on to Equip Expo a specific contractors and influencers get together. Yeah. And then prior to Equip Expo, they've got another contractors group that meets up. I think it's the weekend before Equip Expo starts up, which is Together in the Trades. No, it's not Together in the Trades. It's another one. So they do about 3 or 4 different events for contractors targeted at various different aspects over there. Yeah. And I can see Australia will head the same way. Obviously, we're less than 1/10 of the population of what they have in America. So our industry is going to be like 1/10 of the size of theirs as well.
Yeah.
But I can see space for all of those different types of events coming together here.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Going to the Equip and having so much fun, meeting lots of people that I never thought I'd meet. I know, like, Australians aren't like Americans in the way, like, we're not doing, like, Paul Jamieson's doing 100,000 downloads a month. Like, we've only just cracked it, and we've done 127 episodes. So, realistically, like, we are like a very small part of the industry as a global whole. But, we all like to catch up. We all like to have a chat, and I think it builds the community and builds knowledge of different things. Like, obviously, the LMCA page has been amazing especially for newcomers. Like, I was already 6 or 7, maybe 6 years into business before LMCA came along. So, but I mean, invaluable all the same. Like, the connections I've made over LMCA have been great.
Well, those numbers you mentioned with Paul Jameson's Green Industry podcast, it's interesting because I remember when he first started, and it took him quite a while to hit 1 million episodes.
Yeah.
He did it, and he probably did 1 million episodes in the time it's taken us to hit 100,000.
Yeah.
But then following that 1 million episodes, it was almost instant he was talking about doing 100,000 episodes a month. And it's like, okay, he's gone from hitting 1 million episodes to doing 1/10 of that every month.
Who would know, eh? I'm not showing anyone our analytics.
By comparison, right? If he's doing 1,000,000 episodes and we've done 100,000 episodes, that's in line with the percentage of the population.
Yeah.
Comparison, and the next comparison is if we've done 100,000 episodes, let's aim for hitting 10,000 episodes a month.
Yeah.
Which is achievable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not if we keep missing weeks, but
well,
I mean, it is what it is. Like we still have like our people who listen to us and interact with us online as after every episode and things like that. Some negative, some positive.
Yeah.
But you're never going to please everyone. Just take for instance, like we've had some negative comments about the last one we did, the mulch versus catch part 2.
Yeah.
And that was purely the only reason we did that episode is because it was being brought up across the board. It was seeing it on social media. LMCA was blowing up with people, not myself and not Ben, but we just thought, most of our listeners are from LMCA, so we thought we'd just, have a go ourselves. And some of the hate we got was pretty wild. And I think really we were quite neutral. I think multiple times through the episode we said each to their own, and
I think your first episode was more polarizing.
Yeah, look, I think Ben was awful. I mean, obviously he loves a catch court finished. But look, to be honest, I don't really mind what anyone does in their business. It isn't up to me. Then I'm not. It's up to them. I don't care. Like obviously,
comes down to what works.
Yeah, exactly. Like obviously, I'm doing mainly acreage. I'm not catching it. I'm not catching any acreage, but I don't class that as mulched. I class mulching as with a mulching kit. Not a what is it, a discharge chute or a discharge flap down. So I think a dedicated mulching setup, if you've got everything on point, then it can be perfect for a business. But
and I've done all three. I've done mulching, I've done side discharge, I've done catching, and my specialty has been mulching. So, full mulch plug in and giving that really fine finish where you can't tell there's any clippings left over.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely awesome. But the whole debate, what's better? It's like, well, does it really matter what's better? What works for you? What works for your customer?
I only look at what the customer's willing to pay for. Where the customer standards are. I know everyone's like, don't let your customers dictate your business, but if someone's willing to pay $60 more for a mow being caught, I'm going to model my business to suit that cash flow.
That's it.
So,
and at the end of the day, like your customers might not dictate the model of your business, but without those customers, you don't have a business. So they kind of do and they kind of don't.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I'm mainly aiming at bigger customers now for myself.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably maxed out now. I've got like a 40 acre property I do 1 week, and I do a football club full time, which is another 10 acres. Yeah. Then I do a 35 acre property once a fortnight on the opposite fortnight, and then I do something like 29 acres on the 22 acres on the waterfront. So that's me pretty much full. And it's hard to like say, oh, I'm just going to get rid of one customer and put a new one in. I just picked up another 3 acres, but that's that's neither here nor there. But yeah. Look, some of those customers have asked for stuff to be caught, and I can't do it because I don't have the setup. The boys have the setup for catching.
Yeah,
and like I've given them the ultimatum, like you can either have it done now or you can have it done every fortnight. But yeah, they're good. Like I've kind of looked after customers when they look after me. So yeah.
Yeah, and it comes down to economies of scale on some of those things, doesn't it? If you're doing a acreage for a customer, and it's like, okay, the majority of the acreage is going to be done side discharging because you're doing it with a 60-inch plus mower. Yep. But if you've got a separate mower to do around the house, often you'll end up doing the push mower or the cylinder mower around the house, and then you're catching the grass when you're doing that.
Yeah.
But like you say, like you don't have time to do that or the equipment to do it. The other boys are running around with the equipment for doing that stuff. So
Yeah,
you
that's it.
model the business to suit.
And they've only got a 48, so they're going to be slower anyway. So, I mean, there's lots of options that we have. We could put a bagger on the 61, and that's something that we might look at because these footy clubs, I absolutely love doing them. So,
Yeah,
I'm going to try and get some more.
yeah, they're a great great customer to chase.
Yeah. Oh man, you don't really have to worry about anything but a few stray mouth guards, maybe a
Yeah,
boot here and there, and I will say the bottles give me the shits because there's so many just half Powerades here, and when you're
yeah.
doing when you're doing it and you're not paying attention and you hit a Powerade, you can just they can go some distance.
Oh, they often get shredded too. Like you might throw a Powerade full throwing distance, or you might shred it and make a mess out of it too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if I hit it, that's not my problem. That goes back into the club's responsibility. I nearly ran over a dead galah. The poor thing must have hit something, and yeah, he carked it. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's funny. The club that I'm at, I used to play there, and I used to be pretty rowdy. So there's been a
yeah.
few nights where me and a couple of boys have sat underneath the area, the undercover areas in the middle of the night and just drank, and so
Yeah,
it's a bit weird going back down memory lane.
yeah. Nice. Yeah, so one of the things that's changed for me since we last talked is I was using walker mowers and I've stopped using them. I had a setup with a B series walker, which is side discharge and mulching.
Yep.
I had two decks on it, the 42-inch deck and the 56-inch deck. And what I was doing is I would use the 42-inch deck with the mulch kit in it, do all the manicured areas with the 42-inch and mulch it, and then I would pull it off and put the 56-inch deck on to do the large open acreage areas. So now what I've done is I've switched from walker over to right. And the decision to do that was one of always wanting to try a stander. So I was like, all right, let's see how I go. And I got the ZK61, which productivity is heaps better than the Walker B series because the ground speed's better. The difference in how the deck works and things like that does make a difference to the quality, but
Yep.
the productivity improvement is huge.
Yeah.
And then I've got the 42-inch stander eye for doing those manicured areas. So that's been a massive change for me. And there's good and bad with that. So, the rights are they're decent machines. And I think when you're talking standards, like Wright and Skag both sort of stand out as decent commercial quality machines. I know there's a couple of others out there as well.
Yeah.
But in terms of quality of build and quality of cut, they're both pretty comparable units there.
Yep.
So I've been pretty impressed with the ZK, and Aiden wanted me to run the Stander Eye as well, and I was like, yeah, I need a 42-inch machine, so that makes sense to do that. But it's been interesting getting used to the differences.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it
And
definitely would be the
one of the
floating
things,
deck on the Walker. That's hard to beat the cut quality on a Walker.
yeah, well, the cut quality discussion is really interesting because the reason Walker has the best cut quality is because the deck floats different to
Yeah.
the machine. So, like a lot of out front machines, but the Walker is designed for doing this on a different scale to, say, a Kubota or massive big Isiki.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've deck floats and follows the angle of the ground much better than a regular zero turn or stander. But when it comes to mulching, Walker's not the machine for the best mulch finish. So they're great for catching the grass. But the B series, it took quite a bit of tweaking the deck to actually get it to mulch really well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I do more side discharging than anything. So, mulching hasn't been a big part of my business. So
Yeah.
I just need a machine that lays grass
Yep.
far and fine and neat, and that's all I need. So, Yeah, I'm out of the mulch game. I'm not going to pretend like I mulch and
Yeah.
putting the flap down means because I've got the OME skag flap. It's like
Yeah.
a operated discharge chute, and on the lap bars, the button is actually it's a whole new lap bar, and it's
Okay.
actually a button press. It's an
Nice.
it's incredible setup. It's awesome. So I've had that on since I had the start of the cheetah. So
Yeah.
it's just over 300 hours now, and it's doing well. So
You've put those hours on pretty quickly.
yeah, dude. Yeah, so at one stage there, I was mowing like, well, I mean, the waterfront takes me from 6:30 in the morning till like 6:30 at night, and I will stop for a coffee. Lou will come down and bring me an iced coffee, and that's it. The rest of
Yeah.
it is because I have to. So I'll eat while I'm in the car, but what I do is I'll do my first park, which is the busiest park,
Yeah.
and then I'll backtrack and I'll do the biggest park, and then I'll come back to the truck, load up, and I'll shoot down to the next biggest park, and then while I'm in the car, I'm just like, get like a bloody salami stick or something in my gob, and then away I go. Like I've I don't know, this year I've just been going hard, but I've been loving it. Like
Yeah.
like even when it's raining down there, it's still a beautiful spot to mow. So, and the new 35 acres that I've picked up, it's like a big, beautiful lakeside house, and
Yeah.
so
Nice.
I don't know. I'm just enjoying my mowing at the moment. So
So, do you remember when you got the cheetah?
I have no idea. It was,
I know you got it after I started using the ZK.
Yeah.
I've put close to 200 hours on the ZK and 100 hours on the Stander I. So I got around the 300-hour mark on those two machines.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit longer time frame than what you've had the cheetah.
Yeah. I have no idea. So, I was probably doing like, some weeks I do like 20, 25 hours, something like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But like it's not every week.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some weeks I'll do 10, and so.
Yeah.
But it's got the flogging.
I was talking to Grant Little a few weeks ago. He's got two diesel 60-inch machines. He's got a Kubota and a John Deere, and he does about 1,000 hours on his machines a year.
Really?
So he's cranking through them quicker than you or I.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think what you and I do, I think is probably representative. Like sort of the 200 to 300 hours in 12 months is probably representative of what a lot of people will push out on a 60-inch machine.
Yeah, I reckon I'll probably do 400. I'll find out and I'll let you know. But I reckon I'll probably end up doing about 400 this year, like in a 12-month period.
Yeah,
depending how. I mean, just because this season has been so crazy, I don't know how far it's going to push.
Yeah.
But now with the footy club, it's weekly because it's a rugby league club, and they want it to be schmick all the time. So,
yeah,
that's
the way it should be.
Yeah,
every
that's another reason why I like them. Yeah, I know that would be awesome, but it's a bit hard for families to shell out $800 a week for someone to roll through for a couple of hours.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, for some people, it's not. It's just fucking pocket change, isn't it?
Well, I think there's only a few families that are going to be up at that $800 mark every cut. And if they are, then they're going to be reasonably well off.
Yeah.
But the average family is probably going to be around that sort of $100 mo, maybe between 80 and 150.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I've had good customers that not just give me the mowing work, but they also I've got that new 35-acre one that I've probably done it maybe 4 or 5 times now, and they messaged me yesterday and they've asked for another full day of tree trimming because they've probably watched me just absolutely skitzing out underneath trees trying to fight off all the spiders. The last 2 weeks for spiders around here in Brisbane has been crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got like spider bites on my hands, but always in my beard. I've never had it before, but spiders are always seeming to take up residence in my beard lately. But
that is scary. I've heard stats on people, like the number of spiders that are likely to live in your hair on your head or in your beard over the course of a year is quite high.
I can only imagine. So every time Lou would come and bring me a coffee, if I'm working on my 40 acres where we're doing the event,
Yeah.
You probably saw the clear area, but there's two massive treed areas they're quite swampy. So I would cruise into there, and I'd do that, and then she'd bring me a coffee, we'd have a chat, and by the time she got home, she's like, "There's a spider in my car." So every single time, there's a little jumping spider, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
There's only one time where it freaked me out, and I had a spider caught in the crook of my arm. And
Yep.
as I opened it up to like brush it off, I actually saw it rear up and it bit me.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, "You bastard!" So
Yeah.
he didn't live. So, but yeah,
Yeah, I've had once or twice where I've had something bite me that I wasn't sure what it was. And it's like, oh, right, was that a wasp sting or was there a spider down my shirt?
Oh, yeah. Have you noticed wasps have been particularly bad this year?
Oh, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, really bad, man. The young fella that works for me, Will, he got tagged on the face.
Yeah.
He did try and hit a nest with a chopstick, size
Yeah.
piece of stick. So he kind of brought it on himself. But he got tagged. I don't think there's anyone on the books that hasn't been tagged this year. And I've had a few. They seem to be making their nests along barbed wire fences a lot.
I've been tagged in the webbing between my fingers in the last few weeks. That's nasty.
Oh, yeah.
But I had my employee call me and she said, oh, there's wasp nest on the Buxus hedge that she was working on.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll come and take care of it. I said, but what I do is either use a long stick and knock it off if you can get long enough stick to be back far enough from it. Otherwise, stand back with the whippy cord and just whip it with the whippy.
Yeah, that's what we do. But
Yeah.
so one of the boys at one of my villages, he was talking to an old fella. And it was a retirement village, so these are pretty old people. Anyway, this person came out on these beautiful, crispy. They're just the tightest hedges that I have on any job that I have.
Yeah.
And he's gone, this will fix them. And he had a full kettle of boiling water and he just launched it straight into the middle of this hedge.
Oh,
and
no.
it hasn't recovered yet. There's a little peekaboo hole straight through the
Yeah.
guts. So hopefully
Nasty.
that will patch up itself. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that if you use the wasp spray from Bunnings, it's not going to burn your hedge like that, but boiling water sure will.
Yeah, but what's in that wasp spray? It just
smells
takes
toxic.
you out. It
smells
smells
real-
bad, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's I was having a conversation with someone the other day, like how quickly it knocks them down. And and I was just like, yeah, well, what's in it? I don't know.
Yeah.
It must be pretty bad.
The thing it reminds me of is the old insecticide Fortune 500, which we're not allowed to use anymore.
Yeah, is it Bathrin?
Yeah.
I've still got a tin. It's in a tin in
Yeah.
my shed. I'll never get rid of that. Yeah, because you can't buy that anymore, can you?
Nope. Yeah, there's a few things that have been banned recently.
Did you post on a thread with Luke?
Yep.
From your podcast, something else was getting banned or restricted?
Yeah. I can't remember what that one was. So I was getting pushed up the schedule, so it was the next level up in the schedule.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was something that I wanted to get there too. Was people who do spray tickets because that's one thing that entering the industry. I think I know Ben said like he got through without it, but
yeah,
I just think it's something that we've all got now. I've got my boys there, spray tickets. I don't know. It's just something that we've got now. We're licensed sprayers, so.
I've been looking into it. I want to do a check on each state to see what the regulations are. And I know this is contentious, but I'm going to say it anyway. And people can shoot me down if they want. But it depends on what you're doing as to whether you need it and what state you're in. But New South Wales, for instance, if you do less than 20 litres of mixed spray in a day or less than 5 litres of concentrate in a day, then you don't need to have done your chem cert, which is what it is in New South Wales, chem cert. Right. So if you hit 5 litres of concentrate or 20 litres of mixed spray of any particular type of product, then you need to have done your ChemCert training. You don't have to be licensed, you just have to have done training.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
I think so. Up here in Queensland, the last time I looked at it, I think it was powered sprayers were the difference. If you used powered sprayers to apply, then you had to have that ACDC. And let's be honest, like there's not many contractors, or especially solo guys, maybe guys with crews, but there's not a lot that don't use powered sprayers now. Like I know, yeah, pumping is a thing of the past for us.
Yeah.
We still have them as backups just in case someone hasn't charged the batteries, which has happened before.
Well, a lot of that regulation is actually differentiating between not your little battery backpack sprayer, but it's differentiating between what is basically a handheld device and what is a device that's using a big tank and a petrol-powered sprayer.
Yeah.
So, and the differentiation in New South Wales, I can only speak for that because I haven't proven it elsewhere, is to do with commercial use rather than light use. So if you're talking about what you or I do, we're not talking about commercial spraying. If you're talking about going onto a farm and you're spraying 1,000 litres at a time, that's what they're targeting for licensing.
Yeah.
But the ChemCert is meant for you and I.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why we got the ACDC here. I don't know if that's pretty much
that's equivalent to ChemCert, I believe.
Yeah. So we got that. And look, I always tell the boys, like, knowledge is not a heavy burden to carry, so let's do it. We ended up getting the ChemCert and basic chainsaw on the same day.
Yep.
A few people, I actually posted on a not LMCA, a different group. Someone was asking about recommendations for Brisbane, and I put up Eric Martin, who is someone who was mentioned in the LMCA group years ago. And we used him, and he was good, super casual dude, came out to the 40 acres, and he did the whole thing there on site. So he just brought out a table, a couple of chairs, and, it was a day. It wasn't even a full day, really. So
nice.
But, it was good. It was good to learn some things. But, look, I'm still, I don't know, I'm still pretty old school when it comes to all your extra chemicals. Like I can do your broadies and all that, but when it comes to fungicides and all that sort of stuff, they're a bit out of my league. I'm learning, but it's something I haven't really had to mess with much. But that's why, again, like out of selfishness, I've tried to get a few people like ICL, Fernland, and just a bunch of people that I can kind of steal some knowledge from as well.
Yeah. And it's well worth talking to them. I did an episode with Wally from ICL, and it's really informative and educational to talk to people like him, to be able to help you go, okay, well, there's a bunch of different things you can do if you understand what those products work well in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like we've got a patch out the front here, and I mean, the most I do is fertilise it twice a year and mow it. And just after all the rain we've had here in Brisbane, it's just not coming back in a big section, and I was like, oh, great. So it's a fungus, so I've got to try and fix that somehow. But I've got more important things to do, to be honest. But I'll get to it. I'll get to it one day.
Yeah, well, I used the pre-emergent for the first time on my backyard recently, and it's Oxifert, so it's a fertilizer and pre-emergent, and
is it granular or it's
yes, granular. So just put it in the spreader and walk around the yard with the spreader and spread it. Make sure you're getting your coverage at the right dimensions. And I did a quick calculation. I'm like, all right, I want a bag of Oxifert to cover about 600 square meters. That's going to be pretty close to the right coverage.
Nice. Yeah, well, we've only got the little patch out the front. It's like maybe like 45 square meters. So I'm pretty lucky when it comes to chemicals. I can buy the little ones and last minute. But the one thing I hate is I still haven't found anything that I can use for crow's foot that's in a small. Like I don't want to buy like 20 litres of crowbar or something like that. So I'll have to talk to Lenny or Wally and see if I can. Yeah, if there's something that, maybe someone can give me a sample.
Well, that's probably a good thing. If you make friends with somebody who's using 20 litres of it at a time, you could probably grab a couple hundred mils.
Yeah, well, the council yard's not too far up the road. Maybe I'll go and knock on their door. But, I mean, the amount of Crowsfoot and Paspalin and stuff, I don't think they're worried about any of that stuff.
I was talking to an ex-council worker here the other day. I'm tempted to get him on the podcast and, just talk about what the council guys do around here.
Yeah, that would be good. So that's something that I haven't thought of. I've been making, every time we bring up something like when you were talking about the walkers before, I just penciled in Gorillo because I haven't reached out to them yet, and I don't know who distributes them, but I'll find out.
I can't remember who distributes them either. That'd be an interesting one to chase.
Yeah, interesting news too. SME, who distributes Walker, they no longer distribute Bobcat, so they're not doing Bobcat anymore. I think that's Clark Equipment now that distributes them. So,
well, I know they were sharing the distribution for a while, so they both had distribution rights, which meant that they were both carrying the same product. And I think that gets a little bit icky.
Yeah,
trying to manage a situation like that where you got the two distributors, and it's not like America. You might have a distributor that covers 5 states and then another distributor that looks after another area, so it makes a big difference. Whereas in Australia, they didn't delineate like that.
No, 100%. I think and you can tell by market share, just on social media, you just don't see Bobcat as prevalent as you used to.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to pick up again now. They've probably worked out their marketing scheme, and hopefully I can reach out to them. And because I only found out the other day. So SME, when I started this whole adventure, SME jumped straight on. So they'll be a pretty cool stand to look at. They'll have a few of their bigger flagship Batwing machines, hopefully.
Nice.
And then they'll have all the Altos stuff now.
Yeah. I think Altos has been that brand they brought on to replace Bobcat, right?
Yeah. Probably. They probably came in when Bobcat went out. So,
But they've brought on a couple of new brands in the last 12 months.
Yeah, well, I've only really been privy to the Altos thing. I knew as soon as I saw the picture when they started doing little promos on their socials. I was like, that's an Altos for sure. It was the only one that really fit the bill. I've even reached out to Bad Boy mowers. So they're floating around. Oh, Bad Boy or Big Dog? One of those two. I think it's Bad Boy.
Yeah, probably Big Dog.
Yeah, one of them. They have little distributors. They're the hardest to get a hold of.
The other brand that SME brought on, and they had them at your first show, was Raymo.
Oh, are they the little remote control?
Yeah,
little RC mower.
So they're a battery powered slope mower, radio controlled slope mower.
Oh yeah. I know the ones. Yeah. So that'll be good to see. Husqvarna has asked us for a big space. They want to do a big auto mower setup, which will be pretty cool. Same with Cress and Bush Ranger will have their Segway stuff there. Like the PLP boys should have. Hopefully they can set up some stuff too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like there's a lot of things that aren't really in my wheelhouse that I'll get to see, which is good, and hopefully it opens a few eyes for other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just excited to get on with it. MoMaster is one of the ones that I really wanted to get there. So there's a show over here in June.
Yeah.
So hopefully they have a bunch of stuff here. They'll have the the new battery unit. So
that'd be good.
Yeah, hopefully they get to show that off. Massport jumped on.
Yeah.
Greenworks. It's been good. Milwaukee's gotten back to us. So yeah, it's good, man. Everything's been so, I don't know, organised this year. Last year it was just crazy.
Yeah, well, last year was your first experience, and it was like, I think the amount of time you had to organise it meant you were really rushed.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just had to do something, to be honest. But it'll be good. And look, to your listeners, if anyone has any ideas, you can reach out to Gary or you can reach out to me at TBL Property Maintenance or Lawn and Land Equip Expo and let me know because, we've had a few people ask for things like 4x4 and I'm hoping to get like Total Tools and Sydney Tools involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many things out there that I didn't really think of, and even like Gorillo, like just a conversation I'll be like, oh damn it.
But
Even
the more
Kubota,
people,
I feel bad for Kubota. I completely forgot Kubota.
whoops.
Yeah, I'll get onto them.
The more people that I speak to in our industry, the more I realise that there's a bunch of things that are peripheral to what our main line of work is. So your main line of work covers your push mowers, your ride-on mowers, your handheld OPE. But then you go, okay, well, there's a bunch of people out there that do lawn mowing, but their main focus is gardening. So you start looking at Pelink and you go, well, Pelink actually has a bunch of tools that are specifically aimed at the gardening side of our industry. And then you look at something like Vermeer, who has a bunch of stand-on track machines for doing different jobs. And it's like, wow, there's so many things like that, small earth-moving equipment, stuff like that, that gets used in our industry. And it might not be as mainstream as your zero turns and your standards and your push mowers, but it's definitely a big part of our industry.
Yeah, well, there's probably a lot of people out there, like myself included. I've never used a Kanga or a Dingo.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they're so much fun to play on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, it leaves me a little bit intimidated by the machine. Like, I've driven all sorts of, like, from forklifts to pretty much every single mower on the market.
Yeah.
But I've never driven a Kanga or a Dingo, and I think like an expo like this where most of the stalls will be static, and it more than likely will be a no blade event. We're still waiting to hear back from the insurance brokers, because that will just, even at the equip, there's no mowing, and I know that everybody wants to mow, but it is a massive health and safety problem. It's huge. It'll probably take our insurance from, like, say ballpark, $1,500 a show right up to the 20s for the show. So
easily.
it probably won't be feasible for a year or two. But eventually I'd love to do that. And, some of the sites that I have the space.
I think it's worth doing different events for different things like that. So you could do a small event for a bunch of contractors and say, hey, we're going to have Bushranger or Skag or Wright or whatever brand, or even 2 or 3 brands, turn up at this field if you want 20 contractors there, and there's going to be a demo day rather than a massive event, and people can jump on them and switch the blades on.
Yeah, well, that's been the conversation I've had with a few of the mower brands. I probably should have it with everyone, because there's probably somewhere for everyone to do a demo. But I think it's a really good idea, because you do get the true feel for a machine when you're cutting. Yeah. But I think being able to jump on the machine, start it up, do a couple of laps on something, and come back and park it for the next person, it's still a good. You still get a good feel. If you like it, then you can go back and jump on it again. You can try something else, and all the major brands will be there. So all Gravely and Skag and the Bushranger machines will be there. Right, hopefully we'll be there. I haven't heard back from them. Hurry up, Aiden.
Aiden, listening. I know he'll hear this soon.
Good. No, but look, to be honest, we had to pause because we had a venue fall through. So it's only been, I think 2 weeks ago, I sent out the paperwork to everyone.
Yeah.
It won't be until everything's back that I can really start pushing advertising and things like that.
Fair enough.
But
going back to what you're saying, the Dingo and the those stand-on earth-moving tools, you're doing a fair bit of mulch work through winter, spreading mulch around gardens. That is the ideal tool for doing those jobs, particularly if you're unloading from a truck or a trailer. Then a little Dingo or something like that, Vermeer, one of the different brands there, they are the perfect tool for unloading mulch and then getting it into a garden bed quickly.
Maybe Duncan Russell can import one of those new Skag Jackals for me to try out.
But even if you don't have the use for one of these tools full time, if you could hire one from your local hire shop for 2 weeks or 3 weeks a year, it's going to improve your productivity when you're doing those jobs.
Yeah, 100%. But like I said, they've always just been something that because I've never used one. I'm like, oh, do I really need one? I'll just get 2 more blokes in, and then I'm like, or I'll just hire someone with an actual Bobcat that can do it twice as fast.
Well, if you're talking numbers, moving mulch, like I know I could move probably, say, 5 cubes of mulch in a day. If you're talking 10, 15 cubes, you're going to be absolutely stuffed.
Yeah.
But
I've
5
moved,
cubes
I've moved 16 cubic meters before
in one day
in one day
on your own?
on my own. I was dead. I was literally laying on the floor on the entranceway to my house. It took me all day. It was good though. It was only like, I think it was like 5 or 6 cubes of sand,
Yeah.
and they dumped it right next to the pit, which was good. It was a kindy, but the
Yeah.
soft fall,
Oh, yeah.
which, soft fall weighs nothing, so it was easy enough to move around, but it's still a lot of volume.
Yeah, it is. I did about, I think, 5 or 6 in one day, and it was, don't kill me for this, it was the red red wood chip.
Oh,
And I was like, no, I don't want to do that stuff, but that's what they wanted. So, yeah, about 5 or 6 in one day. And because I had to move it around a site, so it wasn't just dumping it in one spot and moving it from there, it was moving it all over a site. So
this was easy. This was easy. Like the 2 big double gates opened up and they just dumped it straight in. And before the second truck got there, I'd almost gotten through the big portion of sand. So that was the worst. But then from that, it's just filthy. Softball is gross.
Yeah. So if you're moving that stuff with a little dingo, then you're moving probably a quarter of a cube or a third of a cube every bucket.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to those sort of jobs, I normally have myself and 2 guys, and then I'll just get in a Bobcat driver at the guy that I use is $110 an hour.
Yeah.
And he can punt. I think he did 40 cubes of mulch and 40 cubes of soil.
Yeah.
And I think it took him maybe like 4 hours, something like that, maybe 5 hours.
That's
so
good.
We were just behind him, just screeding it out, screed the soil, and then we did the same with the mulch, and we planted everything, and yeah, it was a good day, good payday, that's for sure. It was a 1-day job, and like I'm not a landscaper's asshole, so I have no idea what a landscaper would charge, but for us, it was a really good payday. So.
Yeah, well, I think landscapers do charge a bit of a premium because they've got it worked out to make sure they're profitable.
Oh, but, yeah.
It's very easy for them to mess up and lose money on a job like that too.
Yeah, 100%. I could only imagine people who pull the pin halfway through a job, or the changes. People see something on Instagram, they're like, "Oh, I want something different."
Well, I've spoken to several people that have gone, I'm moving from landscape construction into landscape maintenance for that exact reason.
Really? Yep. Yeah, it'd be a hard one to, with us, we get regular work and, we can lock in, weekly jobs, fortnightly jobs. So when people want like a $60,000 backyard, it's not like, some companies who have the presence, they would be getting the work coming through, but, starting out would be really hard.
Yeah. But if you look at, I don't know if you remember me interviewing Nanks way back at the start of my podcast, but we talked about the 1/3 rule. So for a maintenance business, you get a third of your quoted hourly rate is going to go out in expenses, another third is going to go out in wages, and then 1/3 in profit. So if you're quoting $100 for a job, let's say $99, right? So $33 is expenses associated with running the business and your tools, $33 to pay the wage for that hour, and $33 is yours to take home as the business owner, right? If you're doing a maintenance business, that works. And, you might say, well, $100 is not really enough. Bump it up to $120 and then the 1/3 rule works. But if you're doing a lot of materials, so you say you're ordering in 40 cubes of soil and 40 cubes of mulch, and then you're paying your guys for a day, your third rule's gone.
Adds up real quick. Yeah. No, it'd be hard. I have trouble just scheduling my weekly job, so I could only imagine what it's like trying to schedule up a landscaping job and getting it all lined up. Like we've spoken to Shorey and on the skull sessions, or skull crushers, as Brian from Brian's Lawn Maintenance likes to call us. Did you listen to that episode?
No, it's been a while since I've listened to Brian, but I'll look it up.
Okay. Yeah, last one. I think it's Darren. I could be wrong, from gyms in Tasmania.
Okay.
Yeah, he mentioned us, and he mentioned Ben.
Yeah.
So, and Brian thinks the name of our podcast is the Skull Crushers. So, yeah, he didn't get any free advertising on that one. But yeah, oh geez, now I forgot where I was bloody talking about it myself.
Oh, we're talking about the cost of materials compared to the
Oh
cost
yeah,
of
yeah. Like I don't know how people schedule. That's
yeah.
probably just a me thing. Like I guess there's other people out there like me, but everything I do is on paper. Even for the event, I had an Excel spreadsheet given to me where I had to put people's names and everything like that. I just couldn't do it. I just look at it and I'm like, that's not me. I had to do up something on Word and print it
Yeah.
out and write it in, and then I gave it over to my wife and she filled it. It's sitting right next to me here. So I went from an Excel spreadsheet to a piece of paper like this, like a bloody grade threer. So,
Yeah.
but that's just how my brain works, and I guess I've worked out what works for me, and I guess I've just run with it.
I need to get you hooked up with ServiceMate so you can do all your scheduling through some software and try it out.
Mate, ServiceMate better get back to me. I want to see them there. I want to see a big ServiceMate tent.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely need something. But I don't know, lots of things like scheduling. Yeah, we don't even have that many jobs.
I've got
So
a good contact at ServiceMate. I'll send them your details.
yeah, for sure. Like I did reach out to them. I had someone called Jose that said, "Oh yeah, we'll get back to you." So yeah, they haven't gone back to me yet. But yeah, dude, hook me up.
I'll see if I can.
Yeah, for sure. Are you working tomorrow?
Sure am. Yeah.
Eee.
Had today off for Anzac Day. It's one of those ones where you go, yeah, it's probably more religious than the religious holidays.
Yeah, yeah.
And reality is, like, anybody can go out there and work. And if you're working in a industrial zone, then nobody cares, right? If you're working on a large commercial site where nobody's around, or it's a 24-hour production site, then people are there anyway working. But if you're doing a residential yard and the person next door is getting whippersnipper noise rattling on their fence when they're trying to start their barbecue up, or they're coming back from the dawn parade, I would say that's rude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things. I mean, each their own, but there are certain situations where I probably wouldn't do it. I did do a block clear today.
Yeah.
But that's in the middle of like 27 hectares. Like, there's not even a house that's built yet. So,
yeah,
I just did that just so I got a message this morning. One of my boys has come down with COVID. So, I'm going to go and fill in for him. Tomorrow was going to be my event day. I normally try and keep half a day a week just to do all the callbacks and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah,
it's been taken away from me.
It's the way it goes.
Such is life.
I've found that so many times. You put time aside and go, all right, that's my catch-up time, or that's my time to make sure I'm on top of my bookwork, or to take on those extra little things that need doing. And very quickly, it's like the boss can see straight through it, and they're like, oh, you're sitting in the office at home. That means you can come and spend some time with the kids, or that means you can come shopping with me. Or
how'd I end up at Costco with $500 worth of stuff I don't need while I'm not out earning money?
That's it.
Yeah, no, I totally relate to that. But sometimes you just got to do it. I think sometimes, if you got the time there, you just got to invest it into your family instead of into other things for a bit. But yeah, this season's been incredibly busy for all of us. So we've got a few weekend away. So my daughter does competition dance. So we're off to Gladstone for 3 nights, and then the next weekend we're off to Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
For 3 nights. I've never been to either, so that'll be pretty cool.
They're probably both similar distance for you, aren't they?
I think one is 4. I think Gladstone's 6. So I think Coffs Harbour's about 4 hours away. And,
it is.
Gladstone's about 6. So
there you go.
It's up past Bundy. It's towards like 1770, I think.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
But yeah, she's only got like 2 dances, so we'll probably have like a fair bit of time to actually check the places out and Might
Nice.
take a fishing rod and
Good stuff.
catch something with the young fella who might like to go fishing. Bloody
Yeah.
4 years old, but his attention span is as good as mine.
I'm going to catch up with a couple of contractors in Cairns when I'm up there, and one of the things I want to do is stop in and try and catch some barramundi because Ben Reese is up there. He's on the Twins. So
very cool.
Catch up with Ben and get him to show me how to do some fishing.
Oh man, well, like I'd love to catch a barra. We go up to Harvey Bay, or about 20 minutes past, and a couple of the guys up there have caught barras, but I think we're in there when it's too cold. So,
well, I'm going to be in Cairns in the middle of winter. So,
oh well,
yeah,
I know they've got seasons. So,
yeah,
I mean, if you're not going to keep it, it's all good. Chuck him back.
That's it. I'm not sure what the story is there, but I'll leave it up to Ben to hook me up with the right thing.
I'd be chucking it back from a distance, though. Crocodiles just freak me out. I don't know why.
If you can eat a fresh barra straight out of the water, good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've worked in seafood for 5 years, so I've eaten a lot of fresh fish, and they were genuinely fresh fish. So
yeah.
Yeah, I had an experience over. So when I was about 14, I travelled the coast of Western Australia with a friend of the family. Got us over. He was a miner, and he's like, "Come over, and I'll show you this side of the country." So we went all the way from the Valley of the Giants, right down the bottom, all the way through Perth, and then all the way up to Dampier, which is right up the top. And we were fishing this tidal estuary, and there was a massive splash across, and all you could see was it looked like a slide mark. So I'm like 14, just
thinking it's a crocodile.
Oh, I mean, I didn't know what to think, and we were up to like our calves in mud. So I started to freak out. I started fishing like 10 meters up the bank, which was useless. You'd think the fishing would have been awesome, but we only caught catfish, so it was a bit sad.
Yeah, it's not that exciting then.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, I think we've just about exhausted everything we're going to talk about. Yeah,
dude. Can I just tell everyone where to go to pre-register and all that sort of stuff for the event?
For sure.
Yeah, so anyone who wants to come along, I mean, you can come along either way. It's free to enter. So 6th of July is Brisbane. That'll be held at my 40 acres in Chandler. 27th of July is Melbourne, and that'll be held at the Caribbean Gardens, which is a nice big site. Apparently they do heaps of concerts there. Sydney is the 17th of August, and it will be at Rouse. So if you jump onto llee.com.au, you can go and check out all the dates and things like that. You can also pre-register for door prize tickets. And, it should just be a good day. Hopefully the brands will hook us up with a few feeds, so we won't have to it'll be like a cheap day to come and look at some good equipment, and that's what I kind of want. It's good for the brands, it's good for the contractors, and hopefully the Fanatics are joining us as well, so we'll have a few of the Fanatics boys there.
So it looks like you've got the pre-registration up on the website now.
It is indeed, yep. So took a little while. We're not IT professionals, but again, my wife stepped in and took the reins, and she did an amazing job with the help of Nicole. Nicole built the website from Mower Merch.
Oh, there you go.
She's been amazing too. So those two kind of teamed up, and Nicole taught Lou how to do it, and awesome. It's all running smoothly. Fingers crossed. Stuff. Have you pre-registered, Gary?
I have not. But like I said, I'm down all over the countryside at the time you're doing the event. So I think I should pre-register for the Sydney one.
Yeah, so you can just pre-register for your desired event. We've had a fair few come through, and there's been a fair few people that are coming to all three or two of them. Yeah. So, my main man, Turtle, he's pre-registered for Sydney and Melbourne.
There you go.
So, but yeah,
I'm still undecided whether I can get to the Melbourne one or not, but should be at the Sydney one at least.
Yeah, well, you'll have to direct us to a decent pub for after drinks.
Yeah,
I'm going to need them. The good thing about Melbourne as well is there's a hotel about 2 minutes down the road that's only about 2 years old. So,
Nice.
and it's quite central. So it
Yeah.
should be a good thing. But yeah, stay tuned to all the socials. I'll all the lawn and land equip socials will have all the details coming up. There's one post on our Instagram which is pretty sad, but it's hard to do content for something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, I guess the next post needs to be talking about the pre-registration and locations.
That's it. So, yes, everything's moving forward. It's intimidating though. New adventure.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it.
It should be good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's been good to talk to you, BJ.
You too, man. We don't talk enough.
That's it. But I think we'll catch up face to face pretty soon. If not at that event, might catch up with you when I'm coming through Brizzy.
Yes, sweet. You know where I'll be.
Yeah, that's it. Too easy. All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.